Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so Alliance War Season 41 has ended. Well, not quite, but technically. Anyways, there is something up with the timer in the game, which I suspect might lead into a 1 day's delay in the rewards payout, but we're going to leave that aside. We are here to talk about Alliance War Season 42 changelog. And this time around, we do have a few mini-boss updates and also a new tactic. So, the previous tactic, let's face it, it was almost as if we had two offensive tactics, and it wasn't too hard in most cases. In many cases, yeah, you could just cheese it on a fight. It really made several champions shine, such as Diablo, and overall level of difficulty with the previous offensive and defensive tactic kind of took Alliance War a bit down, which we saw with the death counts. In the last two seasons, we had several 0-0 death wars or 0-1 death wars, and it was quite a common thing when teams finished the wars with 0-1 deaths. So we'll see. It's probably going to change now. Welcome to another season of Alliance War. We're coming out with a bigger update and a look into the future of what mini-bosses mean to the map as a whole. However, they don't feel like mini-bosses. Hopefully this new coming series of updates will be able to help bolster their identity and make them feel like something bigger. So they are revamping some of the mini-bosses as well. Not only that, we have a new defensive and attack tactics to bring to you all. And that is what we need to talk the most. With this coming season, we are excited to bring you a new set of defensive and attack tactics for you today. This time, we are concentrating on making multi-hit specials something to be feared, turning those specials into powerhouses that you need to answer. In addition, for anyone playing Heroic and Challenger maps, we have increased the attack tactics that players in those maps have access to. This is part of an initiative to increase attacker options for players in those brackets to facilitate better roster diversity on attack. With further ado, here are the descriptions of the new tactics. So the increase in the tactics available for the mid brackets, I don't think it's a bad thing. It always ends up being like one tactic used the most anyways, because there is always going to be one tactic that's objectively the hardest. And, you know, having choices, having options, having an opportunity to catch your opponents by surprise, I think it's not the worst thing. But let's take a look at the new attack and defensive tactics. So first of all, the attack tactic, armor burn. For each armor up buff on the attacker to a max of 5, all attacks burn 5% of the defender's power. Knocking the defender down grants the attacker's 10-second armor up buff, granting 0 armor rating. Additionally, each time the attacker power burns or drains the defender, remove 1 prowess effects from them. So, it sounds quite good to be honest, but let's see which champions are there. So we have Ant-Man Future, Will Vision, Civil Warrior. Maybe Civil Warrior is going to see some use. I actually do think that Civil Warrior could see some use with his Nullify immunity going in like buffet lanes or something. So that's going to be interesting. Guardian, Guillotine 2099, Hulkbuster, Infamous Iron Man, Omega Sentinel, Shuri, Warlock, Doc Ock, Punisher 2099, Penny Parker, Psycho Man, Magneto, which is interesting, Rogue as well. No armor ups there on the base, but still. Heimdall, Venom, Voodoo, Howard the Duck, Sunspot, Sam Wilson, Ultron, Colossus, and Venom the Duck. So, there are definitely quite a few champions in that tactic that will like never see Alliance War attack or have never seen Alliance War attack. Like I have very, very, very hard time seeing somebody bring Venom the Duck to Alliance. But hey, who knows? Right, other than that, obviously we have the Ant-Man Future, Will Vision, Guillotine 2099, Guardian, Hulkbuster, Infamous Iron Man, Omega Sentinel, Warlock, Punisher 2099, Penny Parker, Magneto. You know, those are kind of like more common use champions, I'd say. Perhaps Sam Wilson will see a bit of time to shine as well. And then we have, Ultron and Colossus also. However, the defensive tactic is the one that looks quite scary. I'm not gonna lie. Defensive tactic is gonna make things more interesting, I believe. And here's the thing, I'm not gonna freak out because I have seen people really, really press over this tactic. Because, the first point is that both teams are on the same boat where, you know, we they both will have the same level of defensive tactic to deal with, right? I think there is a slight possibility that it makes some matchups borderline undoable or unplayable, but it is going to be interesting to see how players overcome it. So, if it is going to become virtually impossible to deal with some defenders, then I'm going to address it once that becomes clear, but not before the actual season starts and we can see the results. Ultimately, also, I do not think that Alliance Wars have to be as, let's say, easy as they have been right now, because again, having Alliance Wars with 0 or 1 death clears, as a common common occurrence right now and the top of the brackets, it just indicates that, in my opinion, the difficulty level overall for the map was a bit too low. Obviously, dying and spending items is going to be frustrating, more frustrating. So, again, we're going to have to wait and see how this works out. But let's take a look at it. Prowess power. Prowess power. Each prowess on a prowess power defender gives them a 20% of a bar of power a second, maxing at 10 prowess. So, they can get up to 200% bar power a second. Just to explain that, it's basically if they get at like 5 or 10 prowesses, they're going to be immediately at level 3. There's just nothing you can do. It's just going to be immediately at level 3. You can throw that level 3, and by the time you stand up, they're going to be at another level 3. So, indestructible 3 boosts here won't really help that much either, I think, unless you have, like, obviously a way to combat those prowesses, because, yeah, they're going to throw a level 3, and within a second and a half, they can get to another level 3, if they are at max. Whenever the defender is struck by a critical hit or purifies a debuff, gain a 10-second promise passive, increasing special attack damage by 5%. But obviously that's mostly for the power gain. And given the fact that we have champions, these prowesses, like Bishop, for instance, you bring in a wrong counter against Bishop, they're immediately dead. Then there's obviously still the champions like Jubilee or even Omega Red. Starting with this, he gains 60% of bar power at the beginning of the fight. So you immediately, if Apoc is going to be the defender, we actually need to read the champion. So we have Kingpin and Atuma, Mantis and Baron Zemo, Agent Venom, Crossbones, Deadpool, Hell's Kitchen, Korg. So these are the shrug off champions. So if you dare to debuff them, then they're going to be gaining a ton of promises, and they're going to be wrecking your face. Of these, I think the scariest at the moment are looking like Kingpin and Atuma, probably. Because Kingpin, obviously, well, yeah, it is going to be a bit dirty. Then we have Night Thrasher, Elsa Bloodstone, Mole Man, Body Panther, and okay, so those are the purifiers. And then we go into area of Sauron, Professor X, Havoc, Bishop, Orm, Toad, Magneto, Emma Frost, Stormax, Jubilee, Kate Bishop, interestingly, Magneto, House of X, Kitty Pryde. So, have Sauron gains prowess like a maniac. Then we have Bishop, who gains crap ton of prowess. So does Storm, Toad. And these are going to be some very, very rough fights if you do not have amazing counter like immediately. Because, make no mistake, knocking these guys down and removing one prowess will do absolutely nothing. Yikes. I think this is going to be time to shine for all those prowess removal synergies. Because recently we have been getting quite few synergies that remove prowess on opponents. And, some older champions as well, like I believe Over the Duck has one. Random War Machine might have one as well, but that would have been cooler if War Machine was an attack tactic attacker. But either way, it does look scary. Again, you fight against Toad, and he's going to be gaining prowesses, a ton of them. You fight against Kitty Pryde, or Bishop, most importantly. Bishop's going to be so scary because he gains so many prowesses. Nimrod's going to be permanently banned the entire season. That's 1000%. Nimrod's going to be like perma-banned. But then, yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting, at the very least, start of the season. Right, so challenger maps, pick one of 5, so you can have 5 tactics you can use now. Also the bans. We have Blacklisted, Hercules, and Human Torch. Which is, I think, fine. I don't think either one of those champions would shine particularly hard in the next season. And then we have Whitelist of Kingpin and Kitty Pryde. Fair enough. With Kitty Pryde, at least you can kind of like tank infinite level 3s, I suppose, and spam your own level 3s. So there's going to be some cheesy fights with Kitty Pryde, I suspect. And there are some node changes. I don't think there's anything too crazy. I don't know what some of these nodes do, so I can't really comment, but the old node 20 is changing, the one that had Strike, Counter, Fury, and Spaced Armor with Masochism over time. Then have like Drip Feed, I don't know what that one does, and Resistance is Futile, Personal Space Healing as well. And then also we have node 46 changing, which was the Strike, Counter, Block Penetration, Never Back Down, Sloped Armor. Now it's going to have High Energy Diet, Burden of Might, Reinvigorated, Unblockable. Interesting. And then we also have node 47 changing, which was the Rich Get Richer aspect of evolution, right side mini boss basically. Now it's going to have Inevitable Power, Power Efficiency, Make a Stand, and One Eye Open, which is going to be quite interesting. So those are the changes to the nodes mini bosses. But yeah, that attack tactic does look quite crazy because it can give up to 200% power a second. That's like immediate level 3. That's like 2 bars of power in 1 second. Second and a half to level 3. Well, we'll see how we do. We'll see how infinite L3 KOs there are. Either way, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys worried or excited or scared? Or what do you think about this changed alliance for season 42? But meanwhile, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya. Bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about